Thank you very much. Hi, Barbara Slavin from the Stimson Center. Two questions. You have expressed a lot of support for sanctions, yet we see that Iran, which had a large middle class until about 2010, 2012, has seen its economy collapse since the imposition of so-called maximum pressure. This means people are poorer, it's harder for them to come out in the streets. What makes you think more maximum pressure is going to achieve the desired results? And the second...
One question, Barbara. One question.
I have to ask about your identification with Israel and whether you think that is appropriate.
Please.
Okay.
One question.
Somebody else.
There's lots of people who want to ask questions. Go ahead.
Well, look, the Iranian people don't blame the West for their poverty. They blame the regime and everything it has done to bring them to the stage at which they are right now. I think it's only the apologists and the contrarians for the regime narrative that told this line that, oh, sanctioning the country is bad, and this is going to impoverish the people. Look, we are in a war against this regime as Iranians, and we are willing to tighten the belts to survive. Our problem is not assuming the sanctions. Our problem is every time we had a chance, they've been thrown under the bus. They've been thrown under the bus under the Obama administration. They were in the Green Movement. They were thrown under the bus by the Biden administration after the Massa movement. Are we going to be thrown under the bus yet again? Because as long as this regime is there, the economic situation is going to continue. But once this regime is gone, there comes the opportunity to come out of this misery. What has delayed our liberalizing ourselves from the misery is because of the wrong policy of your governments. Because the chief culprit is Khamenei and his regime, and you're not doing anything to help us get rid of him. Not because you care about us. Just think of your own interests. Have you achieved anything? Have they given you everything that would be justifiable in terms of realpolitik, if there's any of it? Or diplomacy as a means to suggest that, okay, we're willing to negotiate, but nobody takes responsibility of it, and you kick the can down the road yet again, which means other Iranians on a daily basis being killed. Look, in the last month alone, we had 100 executions. In this calendar year, over 1,000. This is an ongoing thing. Much more important than whether or not they can afford to put food on the table. Their kids are being murdered every single day. That needs to change.
Okay.
Well, I've said what I need to have from the world. Solidarity. The same solidarity that dissidents in the Soviet Union were expecting from the Western free world. The same solidarity that South Africans wanted to put an end to apartheid. The same solidarity that helped Lech Walesa and his friends overcome Jaruzelski. What else is different in Iran? The same solidarity. And we don't see it in the case of Iranians. We've seen always the same approach of appeasement and negotiations, endless, buying time by the regime, and nothing was achieved as a result. Until this attitude and viewpoint is not reset, the Iranian people will continue to be starving. Not because you're imposing sanctions. That makes it more difficult for the regime to fuel its old machine. But it will keep them still longer in power, and that will not change the game. The game changer is for the regime to be gone. And when we say regime change, it's because we understand that it is because of the regime that we are in this misery, not because of external factors. This regime is directly responsible to put Iranians in the mess it is. That's why we want, as Iranians, this regime to no longer be there. And we question whether the world see eye to eye with us that this is ultimately the solution, as opposed to think that you can still manage them, contain them, humor them, appease them, pay hostage bribes to them, and encourage their behavior as they have continued to have. Because you haven't changed their behavior. In fact, you have encouraged their behavior as means of this appeasement.
Sir.